Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, consider hitting subscribe, and if you enjoy this video, give it a like and a share. Today, I wanted to do something completely different on the channel. Getting back to the horror roots that I presume brought many of you here in the first place. Lovecraft is a huge influence on the world, as is Bram Stoker, and of course, even the likes of Mary Shelley and Edgar Allan Poe. Now, one thing that these people all had in common was the ability to build tension, and especially with Lovecraft and Edgar Allan Poe, build tension through the fear of the unknown. They can take objects that are seemingly normal, benign in their design, and twist them. Innocent actions turn sinister in these men's hands. The fear of the unknown is, to me, the greatest and perhaps the most frightening element to horror. If we do not know it, we fear it for what it can do, what it potentially has done, so on and so forth. Nowadays, unfortunately, horror is branded as slasher gore. How many guts can we see on the movie screen, and what can we say that will shock? It's a true shame when a movie like Hereditary, that takes its time to build tension and atmosphere, not holding the hands of the audience, is slated as being boring or even funny. One horror writer I wanted to explore today takes the Lovecraftian elements into every piece of work he does. Not only that, we have shades of Poe and even Bram Stoker. I am of course talking about Junji Ito. For those not aware of his work, I'll be exploring one particular story today and going into spoilers, but I would encourage that you all pick up his books. He's an incredible artist, and although sometimes he is criticised for his lack of storytelling finesse, he is an absolute master of horror that potentially doesn't get the recognition he deserves. I want to take a look at one story today, the Enigma of Amigara Fault. Dissect it, tell you the story, and show you why I believe this is the work of an exceptional mind, more akin to the old style of horror than anything of today. So, the Enigma of Amigara Fault is a short story by Junji Ito. It's perhaps one of his most famous as well. We open the story at Amigara Mountain. The word Amigara has great importance as it means empty shell, which is something that the story begins to reflect upon the reader as you progress. So, we are at this mountain. A hiker is lost, searching for a fault. An earthquake had been experienced in the area not too long ago and opened up a fissure on the mountainside, which revealed something bizarre: human-shaped holes. So, people began making a form of a pilgrimage to the mountain, going to see the fault and the holes, our hiker being one of these. Along his walk, he meets a woman also searching for the fault. As they walk along the mountainside, they talk and tell one another of how they came to learn about the incident and exactly how it made them feel. The woman explains that she saw it on TV and instantly it made her kind of restless. She knew what she had to do when she saw it. As the two examine the mountainside, one person feels compelled to go inside, saying that this one particular hole is his. It's shaped exactly like he is, and so he strips off, heading inside to prove that it is his, compelled to go into the empty shell of the Amigara Mountain. Interestingly enough, as we see him enter the hole, it's a perfect match for him, and into the mountain he slowly goes, almost as if the mountain was digesting him. So our two main characters head off, and that night the man dreams horrifying dreams, nightmares. He's inside the mountain, he's trapped, he can't move, and he's stuck. He's terrified, and then he wakes up. It's the next day. He goes back to the fault in the mountain and he sees the woman again, but she's shaking, terrified. She states, "This tunnel here, this has been dug for me. This is my tunnel." The dialogue here is interesting because she states that it's been here, waiting for me to enter. All that time, when it was underground, it was made for me to enter. And when I go, I'll be trapped in this hole. It brings the woman to tears and near to a breakdown. Just the thought of entering the hole, the fear of the unknown. And so the man decides to fill it up, putting little rocks and blocking up the entrance to the tunnel. That night, we see these two interact and we learn that they themselves could be considered empty shells. We learn that the woman feels like no one loved her, no one ever cared for her. And that night, again, the man sleeps and he has a nightmare. This time though, he's further into the tunnel. The tunnel begins changing shape, but it is still pulling him deeper inside. As it twists and turns, we see his neck start to lengthen, his arms break, his legs twist, and then he wakes up. The woman is gone. Her tunnel that he blocked up is now open. She has entered inside. She can't be reached, despite his shouting. As he stands there, crying, he enters into a trance-like state. He has found himself inexplicably in front of his tunnel. The tunnel shaped and made for him. This is his tunnel, and he must enter it. And so here is where Junji Ito really excels. He has mastered the art of the page turner. Up until this point, yes, it's horrible, yes, it's horrifying, but it isn't explained. We don't know what's going on, we are still very much in the dark, and yet, when you turn this page, this last page, you will know even less, but fear even more. He always ends on a page where the reader gets the most impact. And as we turn the page in Amigara, we see that several months have passed. Some scientists have ventured around the other side of the mountaintop, and they have found where the fault leads to, connected on the other side. But here, on the other side of the mountain, the tunnels are no longer human shaped. They are just twisting and mangled tunnel openings, a mass of holes and fissures in the mountainside. And of course, they go to inspect, wondering, are these connected to the other side? Do they all link up? And then they see something, slowly coming at them, moving, twisted, writhing in agony, and then we end. What is the being? Presumably the humans from the other side. We can see the eyes, the mouth, and that's it. It's not saying anything, but it's still moving, consumed by the empty shell of a mountain. The people that felt empty inside now consumed and regurgitated as something new. And even though we now see what was so horrifying about this story, we know nothing. Nothing is explained. We have no knowledge of the mountain, of why the fissures appeared, of exactly why or how it chose certain people, or indeed, even if it did choose people. We don't know what the creature is that's coming through. It's this cosmic fear that Junji Ito excels at. If we had one more page, just one more page, would it be explained? But do we need that one more page? The story builds and builds, and although this one in particular is a short story, it creates the atmosphere of something looming overhead, waiting, something ready to drop on our main characters. And we end on a note where the payoff is all there, just enough. Junji Ito himself is mainly an artist, although he gets criticised for his storytelling. Personally, I feel it is more than sufficient. I think this level of storytelling works perfectly, in combination with the art especially. It gives the reader the horror that they are looking for. We see careful and harsh lines on the tunnel, the body. We know this is something to be afraid of. And then it ends, leaving the reader wanting more, but satisfied that they have learnt enough. And that is why I think Junji Ito is a horror master. If you haven't read any of his works, please do. It's genuinely fantastic stuff, and there's plenty of stories to get stuck into. Alternatively, if this video does particularly well, it is actually something which I would be more than happy to dissect and discuss here on this channel. If you have, however, read Junji Ito, what are your thoughts on his work? Let me know down below in the comments section. As always, I've been Mr. H, it's been an absolute pleasure, and until next time, take care.